All right, guys, welcome back to the recap of, I want to say feats, but it's not feats. Nope, this is the Uptown Showdown. We have Tyler back and our very first special guest, Sebi, the head route setter from Harlem. Welcome, Seb. Just say a little something so you show up on screen.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
We're doing all right. Thanks for joining us. So Seb's going to join us and offer some insight from the route setter's standpoint on the comps, and talk around some expectations he had, as well as the reality of what happened, right? So, and also just in case you didn't know, this was the first competition that Sebi has led in the sense of comps, which is kind of awesome. He was part of actually 3 of the previous comps leading up to this one, right? In the movement series, right? So I know you were studied at LIC, I think at Valhalla as well.
That's right. Yeah. So I've definitely had my hand in a bunch of comps like in the past. Just this year, I helped set for the Valhalla's Feats of Strength, which was like a really great insight into, just the setting works for the competition. Then after that, in March, it was LIC's Gotham. That was also like another fun time. Working on that under Eddie was a blast. And then it was a really great show.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so let's get into it. Starting off with the Red Point round as well as our citizen rounds. How are we feeling? Tyler climbed. Yeah. I didn't climb this time.
Yeah, Tyler.
Not allowed. Everyone was rooting for Tyler to get up there, and Tyler decided to step his game up too, and went for the open. He actually did not get bumped into the open this time. He actually decided, you know what, I am going to apply and submit for open.
So I have a deal with my team kids that if I ask them to be in open, I have to go in open myself and be there in the session with them and model the behavior I'd like them to follow. So it was great. It was Sonny and I were talking. Sonny was in open as well, and we were talking about it. The boulders were approachable for lower level open climbers like Sonny and I, but still created enough separation at the top end. So I thought that like the open boulders really hit a nice mark, and were super fun. Like tested a lot of different skills, and were hard enough to test the actual strong people and fair enough to be fun for the fake strong people.
Yeah, we had a 5th category.
Sounds like a earlier episode.
Yes, exactly. It was exciting. I mean, the vibe during so I didn't climb. I actually was part of the forerunning, if you can believe that, for the actual competition. And so as part of a project that I'm actually working on, I was talking about a little surprise, a little thing we have coming up, and just to kind of let you know what's coming down the pipe. I'm working on a full documentary for just the start to finish of behind the scenes when it comes to setting for a comp. And I did that at Harlem. And that was really, even for me, being as involved as I have been, and even just talking with route setters, was even just more eye-opening, which is really cool. And Seb was also kind enough to let me join the forerunning team and lose a whole lot of skin for the sake of the comp, and that was really exciting. So just being part of that, me personally, not that I would, take advantage of it, but I just didn't feel that I should compete. So I didn't. So the one comp that I was in, I'm not going to compete in. Or I didn't compete in, but just observing the end results was actually really cool to be part of that. Although I wasn't pulling up bolts and turning clocking holds, 1 degree or whatever, I did have input, and I, got to climb a lot of the climbs and see how people fared on the climbs, and it was really interesting. And I can see how route setting can be, kind of magical for that in that sense. But the vibe from everyone else, except for Xavier, who did not climb very well. He had fun, but he just had an off day. Was that the climbs were good. Like, it was really well set, great spread, and a lot of fun. Like a lot of people were having fun, lots of big smiles in the qualifying, and it was interesting to see Austin Hoyt literally did not register, shows up 40 minutes in, literally takes off his sweatshirt mid like yawn, hits his first climb, gets to the top, and then actually winds up qualifying first, and still had 40 minutes to spare afterwards. The kid's a freaking beast. That was a pleasant surprise to see him come in like that and make a showing. And of course, we'll talk about him and a couple other big surprises in finals as well. So, Seb, your thoughts on? I know you guys are up there perched and on the DJ stand, kind of like observing. Yeah. What was your take on and your expectations for just the qualifying round in general?
Well, I mean, like preparing for the competition, like the week of, my expectations, I couldn't really like pinpoint exactly what I was going to expect, just because like the field kept changing like day by day. No, by Monday, I think we only had like some like expected finalists like Sabrina and Adam sign up. So we didn't really know how the rest of the field was going to fare, knowing that there's going to be 6 finalists for men and women. So that was like a little bit of a struggle trying to figure out exactly like how those boulders needed to turn out. But I think actually with like the field that we had signed up and watching them climb on the boulders, I think we did a pretty good job in the red point round for getting that separation. The boulders were hard enough, but they weren't too hard, so that the athletes really had to try hard and fight for their tops and zones. But it wasn't like shut down city for all of the competitors. I think even the competitors who hit last or close to last still had a decent amount of tops. So I think it was a pretty fair round.
Yeah, no, I noticed that as well, that there were, definitely a lot of comments from people who were like, I shouldn't even be here right now, but I got 3 tops, Yeah. And that it was cool, but like, they got 3 tops, but you can see the clear separation across the qualifying round and the scores, which I think is it's hard to do, right? To create that separation, but also make sure, and that's, I think, across all categories. You don't want to see someone, especially like in the beginner category, like I can't do problem 1, but you also want to make it fun and also have that separation as you go across. So hats off to that. That was really cool to see that it all worked out nicely, and especially that pink problem. Was that the hardest? Did you guys actually wind up grading that?
The one in the Buddha?
On the Buddha, yeah.
The one in the Buddha, yeah, that one definitely got like a lot of people. That one actually probably was like the least fair boulder problem. There was actually this like one move in the cave that definitely stretched out some competitors tip to tip. Still doable, but definitely harder for some.
Right. Yeah. No. It's funny because I saw the taller climbers that were trying that were on that one move. I think because of they had to compress so much more, they kept dropping their feet. So I thought that.
Yeah.
What I was experiencing, at least what I was seeing. So
I think it offered like a good balance of like reach and scrunch. So like if you could hit like one, like you would struggle with the other.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's almost our problem. All right. Any other thoughts or comments around our red point / citizens?
I'll throw a couple in. I can't believe I haven't spoken much yet. I'm usually yapping the whole time, but I thought the open red point round was great, created a lot of separation, but the citizens round was awesome as well. I think that there's a good representation of different styles of problems for people to work on. I think maybe Sebi will agree, like came in maybe slightly soft on the higher end of the boulders, which like given like the people who sign up, like that's a hard mark to hit. But if remembering back to last year, the red point round was absolutely brick, and a lot of people felt completely defeated. And I think if you're hosting a fun citizens comp, it's better for things to be too soft and there for there to be ties and people to walk away feeling good about the numbers that they have on their card than it is for people to walk away feeling like they just got demolished. So quality over quantity, like quality was absolutely there. So hats off to the setters. And I'm trying to think of what else, but just going back to what you were saying about getting people to sign up, I'm officially calling out every open competitor who is potentially a finalist. Stop signing up 2 days before. If you want good separation, and if you want your if you want to be tested, and you want the setters to be able to create high quality climbs for you, sign up in advance so that they know who's coming and they can set appropriately for you. Austin Hoyt was sick leading up to it, and that's why he showed up day of and signed up and showed up 40 minutes late and left 2 hours early. I think he got 8 tops in about 20 minutes. It doesn't matter, but outside of that, Adam signed up ahead of time, but and then, the big challenge I know for you guys is that the NACS Cup was on the same day. So especially in the female non-binary round, it was really tough to get signups, which paved the way for a lot of us to encourage our team kids to sign up for open where they might not usually feel as comfortable to do so. So I think that it worked out nicely for the people. I think Uptown Showdown is for the people,
It's for the people.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree
And
more.
it was interesting. Also, along with NACS, there was another competition.
Yeah, I think there were a couple comps happening on the East Coast. There was the Struggle Bus
On the East
in
Coast,
Maine.
yeah.
And then there was the Ritual happening at CRG, one of the CRGs in Boston. I can't remember. There are too many.
Yeah, no, it's actually that. Well, we're not talking about that one, but that one that's actually split between two facilities, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, a lot of names that normally would come down from Boston. I know, Helen Gillette was who typically will migrate if she's got nothing going on. But yeah, for her, that's her location. She's up there, so she stayed. But yeah, so but it's still I just saying, even though we had a lot of the people that we'll call them the usual characters, all of method that were for NACS, it opened up the door for still what I felt was a really action-packed and exciting finals. And so just getting into, actually, I'll step back. You guys can chat about finals because I talk too much here. So Tyler, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, obviously I have a lot of big feelings about finals. Well, yeah, we'll get to that. Just looking at the men's qualification round, just going back a little bit to the qualification. Justin Kim, who just absolutely dominated in the Rock Club finals. He had a hard time. I know he was one of the ones that was kind of tipped out on some of the climbs, but it happens. It's impossible to get everybody. Something that we talked about after feats was if you sign up for open, having a drop down menu of what your height and wingspan is. I think that would be really helpful for the setters, especially when people sign up ahead of time. So for somebody like Justin, that would make a big difference and be huge. I
believe also just on that, Method actually did do that for underground. If you were an open competitor, you had to submit your APE index as well as your height.
Oh, that's really cool. Quentin Catone, who is really great in LIC finals, he was just out. I know his tips were bleeding by the end, but he was crushing all day. And then are getting into the finalists, Sam Gardner, giving us adults some hope, along with Jeff Tan. I can't remember the last time there were 2 people over 30 in a finals. If I've ever seen that, and that was awesome. This made me feel good. It's been a while. Finalist Sam Gardner, Sam Learner Dreamer, whose scorecard reads Dreamer Learner Dreamer on
Learner Dreamer.
Yeah,
that's a funny mistake.
Yeah, already a great name, and now we got a double dreamer. Jeff Tan, Gavin Ukers, who we saw at Feats finals, and then Adam Shar and Austin Hoyt, obvious staples. As I mentioned, Austin was sick going into it and showed up day of, so he was a nice surprise, but no surprise that Austin and Adam had 8 tops in the qualifier. Can't stop them. Although it was nice that it wasn't 8 flashes. It took them all about 2 tries per. And I even saw them kind of getting tripped up on beta a little bit, which was great. Gavin Ukers and Jeff Tan with 7 tops apiece. Gavin Ukers had a zone on the 8th that Jeff didn't have, so that created that extra bit of separation, which is awesome. And then Sam Dreamer and Sam Gardner, the double Sam, ended up with 6 tops apiece. And then then there were like 5 people that got 5 tops, 5 people that got 4 tops. Like as you go down the list, like there is very clear separation, which I think is awesome. On the women's side, we had just again starting from the bottom, we had a bunch of my team kids, which is awesome. I don't know if they watch this, but Lila, Zohela, Desna, and Goldie, who we'll get to, they came and represented Valhalla and Open, which was super fun to watch, and they all crushed and had a great time. Siri Saharath, who we've seen in a few finals, I think she was also coming off of being sick, so she was unfortunately just out of finals. And then the one kind of like X Factor is Olivia Long, who had qualified. She actually left the competition early because she was dealing with an injury. So even though she would have been in finals, she had to pull out. And then Juliet, I'm going to struggle with the last name, but I believe it's Same. She ended up in finals, so the 7th place took the 6th seed. And then Goldie Kraus, my team kid, and then Mila Huang, Elizabeth Hu, Francesca Hine, and Sabrina Levine. So even though we had some 30-year-olds on the men's side, I don't think that we had anybody old enough to drive themselves to the comp in women's finals.
Total opposite from the men's round.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it was an interesting, disappointing that Olivia Long actually did qualify, but she was injured, and it's, always preserve the body. It would have been excited to see all 3 sponsored BetaBreakerz in the finals, but it'll happen. It'll happen sooner than you think.
I was going to say,
all right,
BetaBreakerz sponsored athlete Olivia Long?
Yes, BetaBreakerz sponsored athlete Olivia Long. But so just getting into finals and the excitement around that. Problem 1 was it was interesting because watching you guys set for this, Seb, and several beta that were that was like the 5th iteration or 6th iteration of that climb, just moving feet and really trying to force that run through to that catch. And it was interesting to see it, like the catch itself was done differently by the people who actually were successful on it. But then there was actually discovered beta that no one really kind of saw for the run across. A lot of people were doing like a little hop and then catch versus step through, which I think was at least we thought was the beta that was the one that was going to go. That top was correct though. Was that one of the ones you tweaked at the end just to make sure that things were
not during changeover, but we did tweak it a bit on like the Monday that we were setting the finals boulders.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, Tyler.
I don't know who decided to go with ketchup and mustard for that one, but it did look kind of cool. And I'll say, to me, the sign of a good finals round boulder is 2 things. Number 1, multiple betas working and not seeming like one is easier than the other. I think that's always a sign of like a really well set finals boulder. And then also, in any finals round, most of the competitors are strong enough to do all those boulders, but it comes down to execution. And when the lights are on, maybe them not necessarily seeing that step through makes a huge difference, right? Like if that might have genuinely been the easiest, but I don't think anybody found it. And that's a sign of a really well set boulder when it can test their the ability to like handle pressure of the competitors.
And that's a high pressure one. Like that's the one, like I remember when Jeff was going at it, he was just shotgunning it because he wasn't figuring it out. And the fact that it's just that easy to hop back on and just keep going at it and not like give you a chance to even think about what maybe the beta is. You're just sitting there kind of off balance and trying to get across. That can really test your nerves. And you can see people get unsettled and stuff like that. And I was, shout out to Adam Shahar, who has always had troubles with fancy footwork, and he got it. And that kid's been working hard on that, and that's, I would say that to see him do that, and I was so excited just to see him get across that. Was it first go, second go? He did it fairly quickly, and I was just like, damn, all right, the kid is still putting in work. Putting in work. He knows that it's one of his big weaknesses. Everything else is a cakewalk for him, but like those what I call fancy feet usually gets him trouble, and he killed it. which was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We did know that that style of a boulder problem was going to give some of those competitors who aren't, I'll quote you, Basim, don't have as fancy of a footwork. But we were definitely hoping that it was going to get some more tops. And then the separation would have come from attempts to zone and attempts to top. All in all, I still think that the boulder did its job.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a really exciting one to watch too. A lot of excitement from 2-zone and as well as the 2 tops we got, right? Adam and Austin, I believe. Those
Yeah,
are the 2
Adam
tops.
and Austin.
Yeah, and then Sam made a run at it, and so
Yeah, I believe
Leonard-
Sam got zone on it, and
Mhm.
I can't remember if any of the other competitors had zone on it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm still editing, so I can confirm later. All right, cool. And we don't have to go through every single climb. Maybe we'll just skip over men's too. I don't want to talk about that one.
Yeah, let's not skip about the most exciting boulder. What I'll say is obviously there is a beta break, but 2 competitors found a break and they did it differently, which I think goes back to that point on number 1, which is that I'm going to say that it didn't seem easier. It just seemed higher percentage, meaning that it's more repeatable each try. Like you don't have to learn the movement as much, but it's damn hard to be able to pull like that. Jeff putting his foot all the way on top of the volume and Austin heel hooking and taking multiple tries. I don't think that was easier. Like, yes, it was different beta, but I don't it didn't seem easy to me.
And that was actually a discussion. Oh, go ahead, Zeb.
Sorry, I was just going to piggyback off of what Tyler was saying. I think the betas that everybody ended up choosing, it fit their box better. Some were better at that coordination intro, and then some just grabbed holds and yarded.
Yeah. And I actually had this conversation with PJ while I was filming for the documentary, and about like at what point are you considering beta breaks and like trying to ensure. And PJ's like, dude, a lot of times people break beta because it fits their style better, but it doesn't necessarily make the climb easier, right? And so like the question is, did that beta break? Because when I was forerunning, I broke beta, but I did it arguably harder than the actual intended beta was on one of the climbs we were forerunning. And he was like, if you want to go ahead and do it that way, go ahead and do it that way. It's harder than it's intended, but it fit my box better, my style of climbing. And so like that's it's an interesting consideration around the concept of breaking beta not being such a bad thing. I mean, it was definitely a cool highlight, but also like I looked at it and I'm like, no way in hell I'm gonna be able to do what Jeff and Austin did. Like it's just not my mobility and my heel hooking strength don't fit that box. I'm going for the dyno 100% and then reaching up.
It looks really, really difficult. I think like Jeff might have done it like first try when he was actually attempting the beta break, and then I think it took Austin a couple tries to do it. So yeah, like you guys said, like I don't know if it was easier to do it. It just worked out for them. We had actually during forerunning had focused on a different beta break that we were working to solve earlier. So our attention wasn't even on like what the guys did, because we kind of looked at it and we were like, yeah, no way.
And I'll throw out just like on the note of beta breaks, like not to more of a brag than a like call out of the centers, but one of the qualifier boulders, which is the red on the 45, like I found a knee bar at the top that made that top section much easier. Like even some of the stronger like qualifiers were struggling on that top section. So shout out my climbing IQ. It's crazy, but like that's the difference between kind of like what a break is versus just alternate beta,
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. So far we've been talking about just, are we going to focus on the men's climbing, or are we going to talk about
I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk about because huge like moment of pride for me was one of my team kids, Goldie Krause, who I've had the pleasure of working with for like 5+ years now. it was her first time competing in open on the car ride or the train ride, whatever, to Harlem. What her parents told me, she was like, I can't believe Tyler's making me do this. Like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to get shut down. Ended up qualifying in 5th place for finals in true Goldie fashion, like clutched the last boulder that she needed to qualify in the last 1 minute of the comp round. And then she found out she was in finals, which she was like already over the moon. And then she was in 1st place until I think Sabrina topped the 3rd boulder, and then managed to hold on to that 2nd place through the round. So, you know, I don't know if she'll ever watch this, but I'm sure some of the other team kids that I know will. So big shout out to Goldie, like huge moment of pride for everybody at Valhalla and all the movement youth programs. And you know, I would be hard pressed to find somebody that works harder than her. Yeah, absolute beast and just a nice child.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Goldie would be in finals. It just happened sooner than we all expected. You know, like she just boom. And I remember, like, just to kind of talk about her clutching that last top to qualify. I walked up to her probably with 10 minutes left in the qualifying round, and she was just grinding that boulder. And I was like, you know, like, all right, so we're doing this. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I'm not going to qualify, like, but whatever. And she's like, I'm doing this because, you know, I'm doing this for me. She was literally just grinding that boulder for herself. She, you know, and she got it in the last minute, and it just happened to translate into her, you know, clutching and getting the actual qualification. You know, she wasn't even going for it, right? She was just climbing for herself, and that just, you know, a big testament out there for you people out there that are competing. Don't always have to go for it, you know. You know, just do it for yourself. You know, get out there, you know, challenge yourself, try your hardest. Whatever happens, happens, right? But you know, just keep that clear head. Don't pressure yourself. Do it for the love of the game, as they say. Okay, so women's 4. What did you guys do to women's 4? Like that, dude.
Good question. Women's 4 was yeah, I guess you could say it's kind of brick, huh? We did have like a different intended sequence for like a different start. We were hoping that the athletes to start would actually try to gain some momentum by jumping at the hold, doing like a little run and jump, and then paddle into the start jug onto the volume. I don't think any of the competitors had read it that way, and had all kind of opted the pinch as hard as you can strength route, which did work out for some. We did have an unfortunate false start, which did lead to decision being made to give that competitors an extra time at the end of the round. But I mean, Sabrina got on it, just absolutely squeezed the life out of those holds and made her way to the top. So that was actually very exciting to watch.
Yeah.
No surprise that Sabrina Levine is the one to absolutely squeeze the water out of the pinches, you know.
No surprise.
No surprise, but just some context for people who were maybe confused watching the live stream or didn't catch it. Mila Huang, it was Mila, right? Yeah, Mila Huang. Yeah, she managed to start the boulder. She was the first one to actually like pull through the start, but didn't manage to establish the correct 4-point position. And then the DJ, the crowd was a little bit too loud for her to hear the judges. They were trying to call her off. And there's always this awkward moment when something like that happens at competitions. It happens in USAC. It happens at locals where the like, you don't want to call them off because they're like so close and trying so hard, but it is your responsibility. So the LIC head coach who has worked with her in the past, Brett, he and I kind of like tracked down a video that had the clock in it to try to find how much time she had when she should have been called off. And then spoke to Anja, the head judge, and Sebi, who I think made the right decision, the friendly decision, the good community decision to give her that extra minute to try it. And hats off to her for like regaining her composure after something that is like so mentally tough as that, to go out and like give it her best shot and try to pull through again. I know like she is, as well as a bunch of the other competitors, like her tips were fully bleeding at that point. I don't know how well it was going to go for her, but shout out to Mila for giving it her all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was an unfortunate circumstance. She was under the impression that she had started the boulder correctly, but limbs were like, it was almost like a game of Twister on the like establishing the boulder. So I can understand like where that mistake came from. Tyler, like you said, the DJ was doing his thing. The MC was doing their thing, and the crowd was just like going wild because like it was like the first establishment. So like there's absolutely like you couldn't even like talk to your neighbor at that point. Like it was too loud, and at that point like Mila had like inverted on the wall to like gain some rest. So like you couldn't even see the judge like calling you down. So it was just like a slight little sequence of events that kind of led to that. So.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy double knee bar she found for the rest. That was not a blind little.
It's not what we were looking for or hoping for or set for, but it's awesome.
Yeah. She channeled her inner Augie Chi for that one.
She sure did, yeah. It was like a flashback to last year's LIC finals.
Yeah, it was like literally like, oh, look at that. Yeah. Can't avoid it. All right, so women's 3, men's 3. Oh, before we go back to the 3, men's 4. The inspiration behind that, Seb. You were nervous about whether or not it goes, and it went.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous. How I had designed the finals round to go, I did want all of boulder 1, 2, and 3 to progressively get fewer and fewer tops until the competitors arrived to boulder 4. And boulder 4 is the boulder that I wanted both for the male and female category to only receive like 1 to 2 tops maximum. I was really nervous and sort of on the fence on like whether it goes or not, especially seeing all of the boys doing the paddle during the red point round. Definitely made me nervous about like maybe my paddle is a little bit too easy. During changeover, we did give it one final test, and we found that with enough grit, you can jump and just hold the first hold. Right. So that's not what I wanted. So I ended up clocking the hold a little bit at a time because I didn't want to spice it up too much, and I didn't want it to be holdable. So it was sort of a gamble. We were rolling the dice at that point. Every single time I tilted the hold, I mean, I had some buddies from LIC. The setters from LIC were just like, like giving me some flack for just like turning the hold a little bit, trying it some more, trying it, and just back and forth. Ultimately, I think I made the right call. I turned it just enough so that it got exactly like the score that I wanted. I think I had like the boulder had 1 top. Adam Shahar flashed the boulder, then Austin had zone on it. So it was like just about exactly what I wanted. So I was pretty satisfied from that.
Yeah, it was 1.5 tops. So you went it between 1 and 2, and there you go.
Yeah. Right smack in the middle.
Excellent. Yeah,
you can always count on Adam Shahar to validate how even if it doesn't work, he makes it work and makes it seem like the set was perfect.
And that's like a really funny way of saying it too. Like a lot of the boulders, both in red point and finals, we were talking about like, oh yeah, does this move go? It's like, it's kind of hard, but Adam will do it. And that was kind of like, like the theme of the week. Like, is that hard enough? Is it too hard? Yeah, but Adam will do it. So.
I believe you said really cool. If in theory, I think like in theory, if it goes, like if I think it goes, he'll do it. I don't actually have to be able to do it. None of us have to be able to do it, but if we think it can be done, Adam will do it. And that was
essentially. If we are like pretty close to doing the move, and then we can like actually visualize that. Like, yeah, with like enough work, like a few days, like trying the move, and like maybe a couple rest days after that, like we can come back and do the move. Then yeah, it's
Right.
like just hard enough.
Cool. All right. Do we want to touch on climbs 3? Women's 3 was interesting. The beta, they were having a hard time catching that dyno, the swing. I don't know what it was with that. I mean, Sabrina Levine, of course, she has the Ninja War experience, so she has the Lachey experience, but the other female climbers just couldn't get that momentum to get across, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely a hard hold to generate off of. During the changeover, we actually didn't even have, we screwed on some jibs onto the yellow cheetah holds. We didn't even have those on there before, and it's a good thing we did put them on, because it made it then possible to generate some more momentum to Lachey onto the second cheetah in the overhang. But the second cheetah didn't have any jibs either, so like you had to like hit it and compress with like all your might. We did put another like fiberglass cheetah on the other side of the volume that you Lacheyed to. We were hoping that, you know, some of the competitors would then like throw a toe hook at the last minute to like create and like sandwich between the volumes.
Right. Yeah. No one, like everyone was kind of coming down on it, as opposed to keeping that momentum across and kicking the foot up. Yeah, I remember when we were setting for that was the intended. And men's 3, that one was tough. That compression.
Yeah,
I'm surprised no one went for that kind of kick off the cone.
Yeah, we didn't even see it.
Yeah.
The assignment for that boulder was a turnaround, stem corner move, something where the athletes have to establish on, move over onto a volume, and then turn around for a jump to like a really big positive sloper. The top sequence was much easier than what we had put up in finals. So during the changeover, we actually tweaked it up a little bit, because for that boulder, for both men and women 3, we wanted around 3 tops. We might have cooked it up a little bit too much. We did get some separation on both of the climbs though. So it worked out at the end of the day. I think a few athletes got zone on M3, and then we had Sabrina top the boulder for F3.
Nice. Tyler, thoughts? Been quiet.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious to hear from Sebi, because I think it's way more interesting to hear the setter's perspective than my armchair expert perspective. But no, I thought that contradicting myself from the open round, where I was saying that it's better for it to be a little too easy. I think having boulders overcooked in a finals round is better than having them undercooked. As exciting as it is for everybody to see tops, I think it's just more interesting to watch the finalists like struggle and have to think and like try to figure out, you know, and assume that the setters made everything possible. And if you think it's possible, you might just be able to make it possible. So I really enjoyed watching all the boulders. I think number 4 on the men's and the women's was just like an absolute incredible showstopper, and that's really what you want to end the night. Good challenge in all those different styles around throughout the round. So yeah, well done, Sebi. For is this your first time ever chiefing a comp?
First time chiefing. Yeah, first time chiefing. So it was a great experience. I mean, I guess like if you want to be technical, we did put on a mock youth regionals for the movement competitive teams in the New York City and Pennsylvania region. So this could technically be my second time chiefing. But yeah, definitely first time like at a competition with a production like this.
Oh man, you killed it. You killed it. So well done. Did a great job.
Thank you.
And are you going to be part of the setting team for the Kiwanis comp coming up at the end of the month, middle of the month? It's like summer.
So Kiwanis' comp is happening May 18th. I will be setting for that, but I'll only be on for 2 days that week. Kiwanis has a pretty big setting crew. So I'll be there setting like the red point round on Tuesday, and then I'll have a forerunning day with them on that Thursday, right before the comp. So I will be setting there, but not to the same degree that I was at Valhalla, LIC, and Harlem. My body could use a break. I went pretty hard at all three back to back, so no complaints here.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're all looking forward to that Gowanus comp, May 18th.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And of course, we will be there live streaming. So BetaBreakerz will be live streaming. I get excited. But yeah, I think that's about it. So I don't want to take it. Well, yeah, we Tyler, I love that. Just a casual subscribe. No excitement, just subscribe.
At this point, it shouldn't even be exciting. It's just a necessity. Just subscribe.
Watch all the live streams
if you're not going to be there.
Yeah, and so like for those of you who actually made it this far, and just the message to everyone who always asks me, well, I'm trying to live stream. Where's the link to the live stream? People are texting me and hitting me up, and I'm like, if you were subscribed, you would get a notification to your phone to let you know when we go live. And all you have to do is click on the thumbnail on your phone and you're there. So like, it just makes everyone's life easier. I can focus on live streaming and you can just check it out when you're doing whatever you're doing. So yes, just like Tyler said, subscribe. And of course, all of Tyler's information is going to be in the description. And we're also going to follow up on a journey. So while everyone else is qualifying and having fun climbing, I was actually in the back working out, which is part of my new workout assignment by my coach, Tyler. And so we're going to see the end results of that come the Gowanus comp, or at least where we are. I don't want to say the end. I don't think that's going to just stop there, but going to see the results of the impact of that, all the hard work I've been putting in due to Tyler's wonderful coaching. And he's a very attentive coach. He puts up with all my crap and all my questions, which is really, really cool. So it's really nice to be able to see the other side. But so with that, I don't want to take up everyone's time. I know Seb's a really busy man. He's literally in the setter's closet at Gowanus right now. Is that where you are?
Yeah, at Gowanus, yeah.
Yeah, and he's itching to get back to doing what he's got to do. So thank you so much for, number one, inviting me into your house. And of course. Then, of course, joining us here for our very first guest on the recap. Thank you, Seb. And, of course, Tyler, thank you again. We will all see you guys on the next one. Take care.